morning everyone and welcome to this week's sew along. So today and for the next probably couple of days you join me for sewing the Trend Patterns Raglan dress. So I'll hold that up closer. I've actually been really excited to just buy one of these patterns because I love the way they're packaged. I think that the envelope's really cool. I like that it's sort of bubble wrap. It's a really kind of indie look and I like it. The Raglan dress is, as you can kind of see, quite a free-form smock dress with a high necktie and big kind of flouncy sleeves but tied in cuffs to give it a bit more shape, and it's got a tie at the back of the neck. So I'm making the dress version, not the blouse, although I may make the blouse later on in life, and I will be making it in this. Now this is beautiful and I've been so excited to use it. It is lovely like rose print viscose from Rainbow Fabrics Kilburn. This was actually gifted to me, this fabric, to be completely transparent. And honestly, it was so gorgeous and I wasn't expecting it that I really didn't know what to use it for. And then when I saw this pattern and then saw Trend Patterns happen to have a sale on, I just thought they were so perfectly together. So I can't wait. I will be sewing on my usual machine today. It's a Sunday, however we have got people coming over later, so it's going to be a bit of a rush, I think, to get my pattern pieces cut. But once they're done, I anticipate some super fun sewing. So if you want to join me today, or if you want to look at any of my other vlogs, please go back and subscribe if you want to follow my progress with my sewing journey, not only with my Raglan dress, but with everything I'm going to do in the future. For now, let's do some pattern laying. Here I am on the floor with the most enormous pattern sheet in the world. It's all one sheet, which I like, but also I've had to move some furniture to get it all out. Now I'm going to be absolutely terrible and I am going to cut out the pieces from the master pattern. I know I should trace, especially as it's paper, but honestly I don't want to. I don't normally do this. I'm very good. I trace my patterns, but today I can't be bothered. And also it's a very loose fit dress, so realistically there's nothing I can't pattern alter if I need to. And so I've decided, having had a look at the size measurements, which are in centimetres only for some reason. It would be great if they were centimetres and inches because I do not know my measurements in centimetres. I should probably write them down. I'm going to make a size 10 and I'm doing that based off the bust fit, because especially as it's got long sleeves, I want it to fit properly, and the Raglan sleeves I want it to fit directly on that line and not pull. And then I can always adjust lower down if I need to, but I think a 10 is going to be best. So yeah, I'm going to cut these pieces out and then cut some fabric and we'll hopefully get there. With this gorgeous viscose, I should have shown before, but the lighting's much better now. It's from Rainbow Fabrics Kilburn, as I mentioned earlier. It's super lightweight. It was gifted, and it's a lovely proper 100% viscose. I have a feeling this is dead stock, but I'm not 100% sure. It's got such a lightweight drape to it. I think the sleeves for this dress are going to look incredible in this fabric. Obviously it's got the usual downsides of viscose in which that it frays a lot. As you can see, it's already started, and obviously it slips like anything. It's one of the 1,000 times I wish I had a rotary cutter, but hopefully we will get on fine. So we've cut our pattern pieces out. And the first instruction we get a lovely little booklet, by the way, if you buy the actual pattern, like physically. The first instruction is to overlock or stitch and finish the side seams, centre back, underarm and overarm seams. So presumably we've got two very long pieces, one on a fold for the front and then one for the back because it's got keyhole opening. So we'll stitch them together. When it says do the underarm and overarm seams, I'm assuming it then just wants me to attach the sleeves. It's quite unclear because, to be honest, the next 2 pages are very much about the neckline and I can't see anywhere anything else that tells me to attach the sleeves. So, little bit unclear, has to be said. I'm not a big fan of instructions where the first line is just do it, because I don't think that's very helpful. However, we will see how we get on. It looks like it goes into a lot of detail with the neckline, which I'm sure I'll find very useful. So I am going to really just start the main assembly. So here we are, you join me on the floor with my kind of central trunk of the dress. I've done my side seams and my centre back. Apologies, this fabric is both dark and patterned, therefore really difficult to film. So my next step is my raglan sleeves. It would be fantastic if there were any instructions on how to insert these in the pattern, as I've only ever done them once. However, I know the principles, so we'll have a crack at it. While since I give you guys an update. It's been lots of time lapses because, as I mentioned, the first step is literally just sew your seams. So here we are. I'll show you what I've got. I've got something that looks vaguely like a dress, which is very exciting. So let me get it the right way around. Front of the dress, and I've got some lovely actual sleeves that are on. Sorry, that looks enormous. Let me pick up the back side. There we go. There we go. So there's our big floaty sleeve, and as you can see, it's wrong side out at the moment, so I can open out. However, the bottom underarm seam is done, side seams are done, centre back seam is done. So the centre back is open anyway. Sorry, it's so hard on this fabric to show you guys like accurately because it's the pattern. So you can see, yes, there we go, the light. So you can see the back is a keyhole opening anyway, so just leave that open. There's a notch on the fabric that shows where to sew up to, really. And then I think we finish this, I think it's the next step, I believe. But one thing I've noticed so far is I suspect trend patterns have got quite tall tester people, because I'm 5'2", and this dress was kind of billed as being, not billed, but in the pictures online and everything, it kind of shows it as being knee length, like around there. This is full length on me. This is literally a maxi dress, so I'm like to there, completely covered. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sew it up as it should be, and I'm not going to do the hem, and then I'm going to put it on. If it looks actually amazing as a maxi dress, then we'll leave it, but otherwise I'm going to have to cut off like half the length of this, I think, to make it like appropriate for a short woman. So we will see how we get on. I need to go press this, have tea, and then we'll get on with some more sewing. So you join me on the floor, and I'm with my raglan dress. So I'm going to join me for step 2. I know, there's been a lot of vlog and we're only on step 2. Okay, there we go. So this is it inside out. And here we are. So I showed you guys in the last video. This is where we are. Sleeves at the bottom are sewn. Oh, a few days in between sewing that and sewing this, but it's been a very, very busy week. So now we have to gather this front neckline. And again, the pattern instruction says, gather the centre front neck to the measurement required for your size. So I'm assuming There's a notch here, so there must be one over here that I've just cut too shallow. I'll have a look. Well, actually, yeah, if it's even, I should be able to match it. So, there is a notch here and here. So presumably I need to gather this. However, to what size, I have no idea because it's not specified. I'm gonna have a look at the long necktie piece and see if there's any like corresponding notches or anything like that I can measure it up to. And then we have to sew 2 lines of gathering stitches, obviously, all the way along here. Again, it doesn't say what distance to do that at, so I'm assuming right up close to the edge. There is then a picture telling me to stitch it in place, so it must need to be right up here so I can stitch under it to stitch it in place. Can you tell how clear I am on this? I am going to have a go at this. I'm going to try and get the long necktie piece out and see if I'll do the rows of stitches, and then I'll get the necktie piece out and see how close I have to gather it. We'll do that, we'll stitch it in place, and then we will be on to the centre back keyhole, but at least the neckline will start looking, because at the moment it's like a boat neck, so at least it will start looking like a high-necked raglan dress. Done that. No idea if they're too far apart or not, but we will have a crack at gathering this. And I've got the very, very long necktie piece here in front of me, and there are an awful lot of markings on this. I'm going to show you guys what I can see. So here we are. You can see this is the centre front. There's these markings for sizes, and then it says front neck. I guess that's, I'm not entirely sure if that these two, I think these two, oh my god, sorry, the front door's open, the wind's sending this everywhere. I think I've got to gather it to this distance, but also this says front sleeve, and so does this. So I will gather the centre bit of the neck, I think, to this bit, and make sure then the neck to sleeve fits here. I think that's what it's asking me to do. So I'm going to gather it with you. So we're aiming for that. The thing is, you only sew to like here, like gather to here and here. That's where my gathering stitches are, and the sleeve doesn't start till here, which does kind of, so oh yeah, it does match that little gap. So presumably we're fitting that small rectangle there. Right, so let's grab our wee back bobbin threads. Go. I always start with one big pull. It sounds really silly, and a lot of people will be like, why are you doing that? Because I just like to get it going. I'm very impatient. Not with everything. There's some, obviously, sewing does require an amount of patience, but I also think an amount of, oh my god, let's just do this, does speed things up somewhat. So I've gathered it right up. Now this is a trick I use. I know some people don't advise it, but I find it helpful for me, is I gather it, especially when I'm working with something small, I gather it all the way up. So it's completely even, but all scrunched up in a thing, like this. As you can see, that's now my neckline. And then I'm going to put this next to my centre front on the pattern and expand it. So I'm aiming for my gathers to be all near there, up to the 10 line on each side. So let's just pull very gently. Right, those are my notches. Let's try that. Oh no, gather it back up a bit. Do it this side because it's a little bit flat at this side. Okay, let's try that now. No, a bit more. So if you're using this, there's a lot of instructions on the pattern pieces that somehow haven't quite made it into the instruction booklet. So I would definitely, if you're doing this pattern and being like, what the hell am I meant to do, have a wee look at your pattern pieces. So if I now hold this up to the pattern, that's my centre front gathered section. And then my front sleeve does indeed start there. And my other front sleeve starts there. So we are pretty much right, I think. Also, yeah, if you're learning to do this pattern for the first time, like on your own, do it in a lighter fabric, because I've really made life difficult for myself here, particularly as it's starting to get dark in the evenings here in the UK. Okay, right, let's have a look. 10. So now I just need to stitch these into place. And there we have it. So pretty simple, actually. I think I got a bit frustrated there. I've had a long day. So if I hold it up, there we go. That now fits my neckline. This raglan sleeve is bulging a little bit, but it's sat there, so I think it'll sit more comfortably once the neckline is actually like on. On to the next stage, which is preparing the keyhole opening at the centre back. Good morning everyone and happy Saturday. This vlog has probably taken longer, and this actual sew has probably taken longer than any of my ones so far. I think that's partially because I started it last weekend when we were quite busy, and also this week's been completely insane. Yesterday we did the neckline, which you've just seen a picture of. It's all gathered, looks really pretty. There it is. So now we're gathered. It's quite an impressive amount of gathering actually, but I really like the effect. So now we're working on the back keyhole opening. So if I attempt to find the back of this dress, we've sewed the centre back seam up to here, where there is a little notch in the fabric. I don't know if you can see that. Yay, there we go. Right, this wee notch. So we've sewed up to there, and now we need to prepare this opening. So the instructions here are actually lovely and clear. We are turning this over twice. So we've got a 1.5 centimetre or 5/8 of an inch seam allowance here, and that is to allow us to turn this over. So we're going to turn it over by 0.75 centimetres, and then the same. So that is literally like that we mark, so we turn that back and then we turn it back again so it's in line with the seam allowance. If I do that and show you, and we'll do that all the way up. So it's prepared, we're going to press it, and we're not going to sew it in place just yet. We're just going to press it. It doesn't say to pin it. I guess we just press it really, really firmly. And then that will be our centre back opening ready to go. So we do that both sides. Sorry, I had to take a small break just then because these instructions will be the death of my brain, I swear to God. Sorry, honestly, these instructions are making me feel a bit useless because I'm really not normally like this. Normally I can follow instructions because I'm a human that can speak English, and these are written in English, so you'd think. But I'm struggling today and have been with this pattern. Maybe, I sometimes think this because I do a fair amount of writing in my job and did for my degree. Sometimes I think that certain styles of writing click with some people, and I think me and the person who wrote these instructions just don't understand things the same way, because I'm finding these unclear, but I know there are people who found these clear, so maybe it's just me. So the first step is, as I said, we've got to press that in, and then we don't stitch it because presumably we just want the lines as a guide, and then we fold it back and like close it like this, and then we press this seam open so it's open the whole way down like that, and then we stitch the keyhole opening. So I guess it's just to make sure that this back seam sits flat and it's not causing any bumps. But when I'm over at the ironing board, I will show you guys exactly what I'm doing as I do it, because I feel like we're all going to need some help with this. So I've done a wee spot of ironing, and this is what we've ended up with, is this keyhole opening here. Again, we're not stitching it just yet, it's just pressed in. There are 2 notches at the top of the neckline which help you see where to fold this, and it does end up with a lovely clean finish. So that is that. Sorry, I'm not moving the camera because I'm about to go back to ironing. And press this back seam open, and then I guess just stitch it in place. I'm just going to follow what the pictures look like, what's happening, because that's easier. Done. I've laid it on the floor. Not the neatest in the world, but it is all at least a straight line. I just overshot it a little bit on one side. But there we are. So the keyhole is now done. Now we go to the sleeves, and here is where apparently I wasn't meant to have attached the bottom half of the sleeve yet. However, in the original instructions it said to sew the underarm seam. So, not sure what that meant if it didn't mean the sleeves. I have a feeling I've been immensely stupid here. But that's fine, because realistically I don't actually see a problem with what I've got to do now. It wants me to close up the tops and bottoms of the seams and sew the elastic stuff. So, you know, nothing. I did leave the tops open because it didn't say to do the overarm. So we're going to pin this, sew it all along. I might leave the neck and just sew from the top of the sleeve. Where is it? There's the top of the sleeve. I'm going to sew from the top of the sleeve. I'm just going to leave the neck for this moment because I feel like with the huge tie something else is going to happen. So this is, I've been a bit stupid here, but I do like to include you guys on the whole journey, and especially if that means I've been a bit of an idiot. So apparently you're meant to sew the sleeves up separately, but then I can't see an instruction that says to then attach them. So hey, you know, life's a journey. So I'm going to sew the tops of these sleeves up, and then we're going on to elastic in the cuffs, which means I'm going to slip it on once the sleeves are done so I can check the length of the sleeves, because again, I've just thought that if they have got quite tall pattern testers, then they may also have longer arms than me. It's a bit long, and when I say a bit I mean significantly. So the bust fits really well, happy with that, comfortable. I'm wearing a sports bra as well, so when I wear an actual bra it will sit comfortably. The back will do up to here with the lovely high neck. Great, fantastic. The neck, bust, great. Now in terms of the rest of me, I'm here, dress is here. So yeah, if I hold it out I can fold it in by that much. So obviously I don't want this to be form-fitting, but I'd still like to have a form in it, and those are my ankles. It shouldn't really be this long. I look ridiculous in this, but I am showing you guys because it's important. The sleeves are enormous, but that's fine because we're about to turn them up and elasticate them, so I've got big kind of floppy sleeves, which is cool. That's one of the reasons I chose this pattern. I thought it would look really cute. But yeah, I am not comfortable with this length personally, so mine is probably, yeah, that's ridiculous, I know, but it's going to come to about here because that will look better on me. But I'm going to hem it by stages. So I'm going to, first of all, currently it's an maxi dress, like fully, so I'm going to make it a midi dress. I'll finish it, make it a mini dress, see how it looks, knee length, see how it looks, and then most likely I would imagine, I'm wearing shorts, don't I? Mine's probably going to end up around here, and then I will belt it so it's cute. But yeah, if you're a short person you are going to need to chop a lot off this pattern, and personally I would buy less fabric. I mean, I did this with 2.5 meters, 3 meters, because that's what the pattern told me I needed, but no, I do not. The other thing, I think I'm going to leave the silhouette wide, but then the upshot of that is I will then shorten it so I can belt it and it will look cute. But yeah, so I now need to do some sleeve work. I need to fold these up and get our fun floopsy sleeves going, and then we'll do the neckline, and then you guys will join me for the immense journey that will be hemming this. So here we are with the sleeve. What I just did on the turn-ups there was I sewed a line of stitches as the instructions have asked me to, 1 centimetre in from the edge. So what we then do is fold up. So we need to just press, like fold up on that line and press it. So we're going to do that. I'm going to do it without burning my fingers. It's the thing with viscose, it does not stay where you put it. So I've burnt my fingers so many times ironing like really delicate bits. But it's okay. I'm pretty awful at dealing with Like I have quite a good pain threshold, so I don't really notice until like 2 days later. I'm like, why are my hands so sore? But it is, don't worry, I'm not doing anything dangerous. Everyone who sews knows that you do, like, you end up stabbing yourself in the hand a lot with pins. I got myself under the nail the other day, that really hurt. But here we are. We are pressing along this line, nearly there. I want to make sure that our seams are lined up so we're not going massively off course either. Not that we could, we've got a nice line of stitches. I would also recommend this as a trick generally if you've got a weird amount that you need to press up by. I recommend sewing a line of stitches because it does really, really help. It's a straight line to follow rather than kind of measuring as you go. It's a damn sight quicker as well. Right, there we go. I also need a much better iron, so if anyone's got any kind of not too expensive, because obviously I need an actual ironing board. If anyone's got any better iron recommendations, please pop them in the comments below. There we go, excellent. So, a lovely folded edge. Please excuse the noise, there is a helicopter outside for some reason. The next step is there's 2 notches here, which is the channel for our elastic, so we just need to create this channel. So we're going to fold it up to that second notch, which is somewhere. God, this fabric, I love it, it's beautiful, but I cannot see what I'm doing. Right, up to that notch, and I'm going to press this. But yeah, it should be about that. Your elastic's meant to be like a centimetre. However, the elastic will be as wide as whatever elastic I've got in the house because I forgot that I needed any for this project. So there we go. You've got nice line there. I'm going to pin that, pop some elastic in, and then I'm going to try on the seam for length before we get going. So I've just ironed the turn up for the sleeves, and I'm just going to measure my elastic. So I'm not going to do this particularly scientifically, I'm literally just going to wrap this elastic around my wrist, and then at the point at which it's kind of tight enough to stay there but not cutting off circulation or anything, then I'm just going to grab it, put it off, and cut it. There we go. So this is my wrist tie for one of my sleeves. I will then quickly sew this together once it's inside the sleeve. So I'm going to get my sleeve, sew the cuff of my sleeve, and then insert this and sew it together, and then voila, the sleeve is done. My sleeves are done. The elastic's a little tighter on this side than this side, so I'm just going to tighten this side up because I prefer the look with the tighter elastic. Also, I chopped about a foot off the hem yesterday because I got really frustrated, and then I figured out that I was never going to have it below my knees really anyway, and I actually prefer it like this. Now, the hem is a little uneven because I literally just chopped it across the scissors, but I'm not going to even it up until the neck line is in place to check where it actually hangs then. But this side is a little lower, but that's okay. So we'll just, once I've done the necktie, we'll hang it up, and I'll go along, like I'll hang it up there, and I'll just go along the bottom and hem it, like pin it, and then I'll hem it. But actually already I prefer it shorter. It's a lot more comfortable. I love the sleeves are really fun. And I tried it on with a belt yesterday, and it actually looks really cute. So definitely going to be worn for work on Tuesday, I think, obviously weather dependent, but I'm excited. So on to our last proper technical sewing step. Here you join me on the floor with the most enormous necktie piece, look at this, it's ridiculous. You need the length of fabric specified in the pattern simply to get the necktie out of it. Honestly, it's insane. So the instructions for this are actually very clear, which makes me happy, and also this piece has a lot of markings on it, as we talked about before. But what's amazing is that this actually basically tells you what to do on the pattern piece, and then you look at the instructions and you're like, oh yeah. So my kind of number one tip, I think, as I'm getting towards the end of this pattern, is to read your pattern pieces, because they actually contain far more usable instructional information than the booklet does. The booklet works very well if you know you have to look at the pattern pieces. That can't be denied. But yeah, I definitely suggest having a wee read of all of your pattern pieces. So we need to double this up and then bag it out up to the back notch, which is here. We then leave this bit open so that we can enclose the centre gathered detail and the keyhole at the back and everything, so that can all be enclosed. But yeah, we leave this bit open, we bag out the other sides. So let's do that first of all and press it. Our final like actual technical step, woo, of attaching this lovely long necktie to the neckline. So what we have done theoretically is we have closed and bagged out all the way down from the necktie, from the back of the neck all the way down on each side. So we've now got this bit that's open. There's lots of notches cut on this, so now we just need to match them to the neckline. So I'm going to do that with you guys because a lot of this video has been time-lapse. So let's have a go at this. I'm awful at matching stuff, especially on really patterned fabric. So here we are. This is the back of the neck. I sewed up to the back of the neck notch, so I would assume it just slots in there. Then we have the top of the sleeve, and sure enough, there is a notch for that too. Oof, my goodness. So let's try and get this. So that goes in there with that on top. And we're going to have to pin as we go here, really. Here we go. So, back of the neck is in. The next notch is here for the back of the sleeve. Cannot talk today. And we want that facing, kind of seams facing towards the sleeve rather than towards the neckline. So, there we go. That's in. And we just want to make sure it's firmly and fully enclosed. There's also a huge number of notches, so do make sure that you're matching the right notches, if that makes sense, because there's so many quite close together, obviously, for the tops of the sleeves and things. So I'm looking for another sleeve top that's there, and we want to make sure as well it's covering. So I'm doing this from the back. I should probably be doing this from the front, actually, now I think about it, because we want to make sure we are covering those gathering stitches as well. So firmly in there, and I just stabbed myself in the hand like 3 times. Just during that step just then. I really don't show it anymore because, I don't know, my brain sort of goes, I'll find that sore later. Right, there we go. So is there a notch there? Probably. Yay, there's a notch there. Excellent. So there's another notch where your kind of gathering front starts. So again, making sure it's covered at the front as well. I want to make sure that it's lovely and even. There's a lot to cover at the front as well because of your gathering stitches. Now I'm going to leave the centre front and go to the other side and match the back, and then because the front is gathered, we'll just make sure that we'll do that bit last. So I'll hold it up when it's pinned so you guys can see. Tense pinning atmosphere. It's the last stage and it's so visible. I'm actually quite nervous because I don't want to screw it up. So there we go, another notch for the sleeve heads. And make sure we're down at the back as well. Lovely. Okay, I'm really excited actually because it's a beautiful day today, so it's kind of ideal day to get some really nice pictures of this. And as well, I'm going to go out for a walk later, but it's Sunday, I've got a lot to do, so as I've mentioned, if you go watch my weekend sewing, you see how busy I am at the moment. Right, now let's carefully ease this onto our gathering. Make sure it's fully enclosed so we just don't have to think about our gathering area ever again. Excellent. Yeah, I'm so busy at the moment. My master's degree started, so I've got to do some more reading this afternoon for my lectures next week. I've got to plan my class because some of you may or may not know, I'm also a yoga teacher. I don't charge my classes at the moment because I don't need to, but when I was a student I did, or if I'm on a lower income then obviously I charge. But I teach for free at the moment and I upload stuff to YouTube, so I teach every Monday morning and every Thursday, which means on Sundays I try and plan all my classes because obviously the week is so busy that I want to make sure that everyone's having a great session and I've kind of thought about everything. And then our borough, just, you know, a bit of COVID relevance, the borough next to ours, it's like 5 minutes away, so half of where I live is in a different borough. They are now on the COVID watch list, which as an asthmatic who's been shielding is slightly terrifying. So that's a kind of extra fun thing for today. And there we go, we are on. So hold that up so you can see. I'm going to stitch this into place now, and then we'll be on to hemming. So we have a neckline, yay! So I quite like it. I'll kneel down so you guys can see. It's very high necked. The back is tied with a bow. It's definitely too open for me. I'm beginning to suspect their pattern testers are very long torsos. So I'm gonna just stitch this up to there. Actually, I'm gonna pop a pin in that behind my back while I think about it. So, I know, sewing gives you all sorts of skills you never thought you needed. Oh, including stabbing yourself lightly in the back. Now I could have foreseen that, couldn't I? So, otherwise, love the sleeves. The length is definitely more me. As you can see, it goes down more to this side. So now that it's actually on me properly, I'm going to go upstairs to the mirror and just, I mean, it's already obvious to me that this is not right. So what I'm going to do actually, before I go upstairs to the mirror, is I'm going to lay this out on the ironing board and just hem it with pins. Put it on inside out upstairs and just check the length fully. But yeah, and then pretty much we're done. I'm quite excited by this make, to be honest. Done. So here we are, bit of a twirl. It's got a lovely drape. I love the fabric for this. The sleeves are really comfy actually. When I made the elastic tighter, they also fit a lot better, and when I reach up, it doesn't go too far. Only the back kind of lifts, the front sort of stays where it is. I have made mine quite a bit shorter than the pattern, but I think this looks a lot better on me. So I am going to tidy up now and do some editing, and then I'm going to go take some really nice pictures in this.